Right, we're in a series, Encounters with Jesus, and we've got people from the story in John sharing how they encountered Jesus and the difference it made in their lives. Perhaps you can remember what we've had so far. The first week was Caiaphas, the high priest. Second week, does anyone remember? Okay, Mary, the sister of Lazarus. Okay, because there's a whole heap of Marys in the story. Last week? Andrew, thank you very much. And today, we're going to have a story from Andrew's brother, Simon Peter. And the setting is, it's the Saturday, there's immediately the day after the crucifixion.
I'd never noticed how often roosters crow. They're such a part of daily life. Who would have noticed? But today, for me, it's a different story. I told Jesus I'd be faithful to the end. And I was, at first. When we were in the garden, I stood by his side, even though we were hopelessly outnumbered. I had my sword out before any of the others. And when I cut off that servant's ear, I made sure they knew that we could make them hurt. I didn't retreat. Well, at least not until they arrested him. I didn't mean to leave him. Honestly, we were ambushed. I couldn't understand why Jesus told me to put away my sword, or why he even allowed them to arrest him. Well, after they'd bound Jesus and taken him away, I and another disciple followed him, from a safe distance, of course, to the high priest's courtyard. I had promised that even if all the others fell away, I never would. I told him, "I'm ready to die for you." So I followed him, but it seemed hopeless. I knew it was all over, that we were all marching towards death. His death. For a while he'd been telling us what would happen to him in Jerusalem, but we just couldn't seem to make sense of it all. Well, the other disciple arranged a servant girl to let me into the courtyard. While bringing me through the gate, she looked at me and asked, "Aren't you one of this man's disciples?" I couldn't believe it. How could she know? I panicked, and without even thinking, I said the words, "No, I'm not." It was a lie that I could never take back. Well, it was cold out there, and there was a fire in the courtyard, surrounded by the household servants and guards. I made my way towards it, though I thought it best to stand on the outer circle, away from all the flickering light and flames. With people coming and going from the high priest's residence, I'd hoped to find out how things were unfolding for Jesus. Sure enough, they were all talking about his arrest, his interrogation, and what might be in store for him. They were certainly aware of the priest's contempt for Jesus and that the religious leaders had been plotting against him for some time. So there I was, standing in the shadows, wrapped in my cloak and keeping my mouth shut, when from out of nowhere, some of the other bystanders confronted me and asked in a menacing tone, "Hey, aren't you one of his disciples?" Well, I was flabbergasted. Had they been talking to that servant girl at the gate? Gripped with fear and boiling over with frustration, I angrily blurted out, "No, I'm not." Another lie. I'd hoped that my firm response would be the end of it and that they'd leave me in peace. But it seemed that my reaction only served to fuel their curiosity. Apparently, one of the servants standing by the fire was a relative of that man whose ear I'd cut off. He must have been with the lynch mob when they came to arrest Jesus. Looking closely at me, he asked, "Didn't I see you in the garden with him?" At my wit's end, I declared, "No, I wasn't there. You must have me mistaken for someone else." Blasted rooster. I think maybe you'll understand now. You see, earlier that evening, after I'd pledged my life for the Master, Jesus said I'd deny him 3 times before the rooster crowed. I never meant to, but in the heat of the moment, my courage evaporated. Jesus was right. He knew me better than I knew myself. Yesterday they crucified him and some friends laid his body to rest. We're shell-shocked by grief and guilt. Our hearts are broken, our dreams shattered. And we're afraid that what happened to Jesus might happen to us as well. I never thought it would end this way. I betrayed him as completely as Judas Iscariot did. And now I'm suffocating in the guilt and shame of my failings. Do you think he could ever forgive me?
Sobering, isn't it? A few reflection questions that you can reflect on your own, or you can chat about with someone near you. First, what about Peter's story rang true for you? Second, why do our best intentions often fall short? Number 3, how did Peter become a faithful leader of God's church? Something must have happened. And number 4, what are your thoughts about this quote? In our culture, 3 strikes and you're out. I'm glad that Jesus isn't like that. Have a chat or sit on your own and kick that around for a bit.